Welcome to Yo-11 Minutes. Yo-11 Minutes, mostly Vegas no BS casino experience and more. Today is a special episode. One, Michael Traeger is not here, which is not why it's special. He just has other things he has to do this week, so I will be doing all the shows this week. But it's a very special episode because this is one of a three-part series. Traeger gave me the reins this week, and I was thinking about things to do for the show for this week, and I had this idea to do a three-parter. As you all know, it was recently St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, and for a lot of us, it's just St. Patrick's Day, right? St. Patrick's Day is a fun day. You wear green, you drink, you eat stuff, maybe some cabbage and stuff. Do Irish things. But 4 years ago, in 2020, St. Patrick's Day was a bit different because it was the day that Vegas shut down due to the pandemic. Now, I was in Las Vegas visiting at the time. I wasn't living here yet, but I was visiting Las Vegas at the time. And I remember that my stay was from March 15th through the 18th. Was planning to meet up with some fellow YouTubers, Hagen 2 Cent, Sin City Nerds, Matt Bridger, Cinnamon, Anastas, and have a good time. Now, at that time, the count in every state. Well, okay, first of all, let me just start off this episode by saying this episode is going to be covering the pandemic, COVID-19, and Las Vegas. If either of those things are triggers for you or something that you don't want to hear about, it reminds you of a bad time, do not listen or watch this episode. I get it. I've lost people because of COVID. It's a sucky thing. And if this is not something you want to watch or listen to, by all means, hit that next button or whatever the button is that you have, thingy, the swipey thing, whatever it is you got to do to not see this. I'm okay with it. I totally understand. And I'm sure all of us here at TravelZork totally understand. However, now that I'm saying that, let me just go ahead and say this. It's back in time. It's March 2020. At this time in 2020, the COVID counts were extremely low. It was still developing. I remember single digits in states. It actually had a lower amount in Las Vegas than it did in Arizona, where I was living. So I figured technically it's safer for me to go to Las Vegas. And that's how I reasoned with myself to still go on my Vegas vacation during COVID. Now, this was before everyone started to work from home. This was leading up to that. So this vacation for me, I got a call from my boss at the time saying that when I get back, I'll be working from home, and so will everyone else. Everything was changing everywhere, and not just in Las Vegas. So just like at the very beginning of it, right before things really hit the fan and shutdown started happening. It was March 15th. Where's the 16th? I don't remember. 15th, I arrived in Vegas. The traffic was very slow, not slow, but the traffic there was hardly any traffic is what I'm trying to say. We got from the airport to the plaza in 15 minutes. I remember the Uber driver being surprised it's never that fast. And there was always this sense of something happening. You were hearing rumors about, what casino company was going to close down, Caesars one day, or it's going to be MGM on a certain day, or Caesars, and social distancing practices, but turning off a slot machine, leaving one on, turning the other off. Just walking around and seeing so many things that were closed, so many dining establishments, or whatever. It was a very different Las Vegas. And I was there as it unfolded. And it's an experience I'll never forget. And I'm sure you can imagine going on vacation to maybe your favorite destination, being there, and just things started to just slowly change in a very eerie way. And looking back on it now, of course, I'm grateful for now. And things are back to normal. Things are even better. But at the same time, I think that it's important. They always say remember the good times and forget the bad, but it's. I think that if we forget the bad times, we become ignorant. We forget. We forget the past. We forget all that stuff. And I think that at some point, it's healthy to at least acknowledge the bad. You know, I'm not trying to get psychological or anything. Anyways, so what I wanted to do today, this is part one of a three-part series, and the way I'm structuring it is this: being in Vegas as the shutdown started to happen from a visitor's perspective. At the time, I was a visitor, so this is part one. Part two, tomorrow, if all goes according to plan, I will be joined by Mark Meltzer. He is a fantastic and fabulous writer of many, many Vegas articles for many Vegas publications and blogs. He will be my guest tomorrow to describe as a resident what it was like here in Las Vegas during the shutdown. And then for part three, it's going to be the return to Vegas. Vegas reopens, going back to Vegas. What was that like? And how is it now compared to then? So it's going to be a three-part episode about how the pandemic affected Vegas visitors and residents. And it's all going to start right now. So I have some clips. I was in Vegas. I was vlogging at the time because I wanted to be like a Vegas vlogger or thing. I don't know. I don't think I want to do that anymore. Now that I'm living, I don't know, here. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But I was sort of documenting my day, things I was seeing, and stuff, that was happening during the day. And I've selected 5 clips here from those vlogs. There was one vlog a day for the 15th, 16th, the 17th, and of course the 18th early morning is when I went home. And it's on my YouTube channel, Movestro Vegas. You can go check it out, scroll on down, and you'll find March 2020, part 1, 2, and 3. And it covers what the days were like. I will apologize in advance. I was very drunk in at least a couple of those. But anyways, that being said, this is going to be a clip from March 16th. It was the day before St. Patrick's Day. This is when things started to close. I was, to set the scene for you, I was at the Bellagio walking through. I had gotten footage of all the restaurants were closed. It was like 2 in the afternoon. Everything's open usually in Vegas, but because of what was starting to happen, things started closing up. These places were open the day before, but then they started gradually closing things down. And I remember the feeling that Vegas was changing, as well as every other city, but still Vegas was changing, and that this was something serious. And I decided to have a little confession booth with my camera, for lack of a better word. I basically just stood outside of the Venetian, I believe, and just sort of gave a rundown of the things that I had just seen. So if you're watching this on video, you'll see the whole thing. If you're listening to the audio of this, you won't. But you don't need the scenery anyway. But here it goes. March 16th, 2020. Hey everybody, what's going on? I didn't really do much talking today. I was just sort of walking around and taking in everything that's going on in Vegas with all the coronavirus stuff. I've been tweeting like crazy, taking a lot of pictures and trying to get some video in where I could. And it's really setting in. It's really setting in. So I went to Bellagio and I was walking around, and they were dismantling the Chinese New Year display over at the conservatory, which they might have been scheduled to do that anyways. But everything in that section is closed. The Giardini Garden Store, the patisserie is closed. The chocolate fountain is still flowing, but the place is actually closed. Yeah. Also, as I was walking around Bellagio, you could tell there like everything is shut. Like all the restaurants are closed. Everything, all the restaurants are closed. It has sort of a weird dystopian feel. Slot machine banks being powered off as I was leaving. The guy who plays piano at Baccarat Bar was playing Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and that the timing of that was not lost on me at all. It's weird. Dang, it's really setting in now, and I'm kind of stuck because not stuck. Like my flight got canceled, but they booked me on the next one, so I'm still okay. But I'm here in Vegas, and I see all the coronavirus things happening here, and I'm trying to remind myself that this is happening everywhere, not just here in Las Vegas. And I try to like think of a positive, something to help with it. Is that I imagine December of this year, and I imagine that by then there will be a vaccine, and we're all getting vaccinated, and Vegas will be back up to being full-on Vegas, and everything will go back to some sort of normal. So I try to keep that the things might get better in the distant future, but it doesn't really minimalize or take away from the fact that, you know, this is a catchy thing, especially people with pre-existing conditions, people who are elderly. This is gonna fuck people up. Coronavirus is gonna fuck people up, and it's just sort of a reality check right now. You know, like everything that's happening here isn't only happening here. It was just weird today, just seeing everything closed down, like It's weird because like Vegas is my happy place, and it kind of feels sad. So there's that. Yeah. So basically, the rest of the day entailed, you know, just trying to find something to distract me from everything that was going on. I had some comfort food at a place called Bourbon Fried Chicken, which is no longer there, but it used to be at the Grand Bazaar Shops at Bally's, which is, I guess, now the Grand Bazaar Shops at Horseshoe. Did they rename the Bazaar Shops? I don't know. But anyways, fantastic though. Oh man. Blue Ribbon. It's called Blue Ribbon Fried Chicken. Oh, it was so good. So good. That night I went to the Mirage, and the same thing was happening. It was everything was being shut down. All the slot machines were getting shut down. Like everything, it was just deserted, piece by piece. I remember talking to one of the bartenders there, who didn't know if he would have a job to come back to. They were telling them a certain amount of days, but who knew really at the time how long it would actually be, and stuff like that. And I remember it was just sad. I went downtown after that because at least downtown still kind of felt like a party, you know. So I went downtown, played a slot machine, won $200 and called it a night. Now the next day, it's March 17th. It's St. Patrick's Day, and the crowd is somewhat thinned than I would expect it to be on a St. Patrick's Day, but nonetheless, it was St. Patrick's Day, so I was trying to make merry. And I was at one of the casinos, and then I saw some concerned and worried looks on the faces of security guards. They're gathering by the entrances, and something didn't seem right. Something was in the air, and I got a text message from a friend of mine who said, "Hey, there's going to be an announcement. Pay attention to the news. There's going to be a live announcement at such and such a time." And basically, this is how it all went down. All right, everything just took an interesting turn for the worse. All the casinos on the strip are now closing. I spoke to security at the D. They said they're aware of what's going on. Closure is coming. They're just not sure when they have to start kicking people out. And I'm gonna head back to my room and drop some things off. I have no idea what's going on right now. It's surreal. It's Vegas, but not as you know it.
You're being told not to go up. You are being told not to go up. Effective course of action is to direct all Nevadans to stay home and for non-essential businesses to close to the public for 30 days. This is not the time for casinos to remain open. This is not the time for community recreation centers, clubhouses, movie theaters, and malls to remain open.
For tonight, I'm just gonna go around and, hit up slots while I can, capture what's going on. What a day. What a day. Everything is closing. Downtown, the strip, everything. Yeah. It's crazy right now. Wow. Yeah, it was indeed crazy. And I remember on the way to the room, because it's just like, I remember walking down Fremont, cops started showing up and everything. And I was like, they always say that, like, in a situation, a bad situation that's about to go down, cash is king, right? You need to expect that, you know, electronics or something can, go down or whatever if you can't get anywhere to have access to ATMs. So I remember going to an ATM, making sure I had a decent amount of cash on me. I remember I went to pop-up pizza at the plaza. I was staying at the plaza. I went to pop-up pizza, ordered a medium pizza, and took it up to my room so that I would at least have food, in case shit went down, like in case everything had to close down. At least I had food. You know what I mean? I had food, something to drink. I would, it would, get me by for dinner and maybe breakfast the next day. Like, I didn't know what was going to go on, so I was just preparing for the worst, basically. And so that's what was going on with that. So that being said, later on, after the announcement happened and everything, I went out, met up with some friends over there on Fremont. There was a group. I remember I went to the D. I went to View Bar. I played video poker. I had a drink. Sent a picture of that drink to a friend of mine who was supposed to meet me for a drink, but couldn't because they weren't feeling well. And I remember putting it on Twitter, as a cheers to everyone, and went to the plaza for the group poll with Matt Bridger and Sin City Nerds, Cinnamon, Hagen Tucson, Anastas, all of them. And then I remember that, we were told to, security came by and told us that it is time to go. And here's that clip. Apparently, that clip was not there. It should have been there, but apparently, I do not have that clip. Later on, though, what did happen is that I went around and I just got footage of all the casinos that had closed down. I'm going to narrate this the best I can because there was really no audio to it. I just put music to it, but basically it shows the casinos that are shut down. One of them being El Cortez. Can you imagine? El Cortez didn't even have built-in locks. They had like a chain with a lock on it. These buildings were not designed to close at all. They were not designed to be shut down. So, there's a lot of last minute getting locks installed so they can close down. But I'm just going to go ahead and narrate. And I want you to think about how many years it was. This happened in 2020. So I tell you what dates these casinos opened. Think about how many years and decades went by before they actually had to close. Here's that. So basically, we're looking at a closed down plaza, hotel, and casino. All the slot machines are out of service, shut down, which was a sight to see. Something that we'll probably never see again, hopefully. But it's crazy to think about as it's there and it is happening.
Security just informed me that they are kicking everybody out of the casino as of right now. They actually approached me and said, "You're gonna have to leave." And I let them know I'm a guest here, and they're like, "Okay, but this casino is closing down." So they mean business.
So they mean business. With that, we went outside to Fremont Street, and imagine Fremont Street without music. Imagine Fremont Street without buskers. No music. No buskers. You know the Viva Vision screen that always has these like amazing graphics and animations all over it? There was nothing on it. It was just white. It was just lit up in white. Like someone had like turned on a like the Viva Vision has a string that if you pull it, you know, it goes, you know, like one of those old kitchen lights. It was like that. It was just a white light screen, and that was it. No music, no graphics. Cops walking around, telling everyone, you know, it's time to go home. We've got to leave. You know, can't stay here. That's what was going on at the time. And I remember having gotten a bit lost from the friends I was with because I tipped some guy, and we got into a conversation, and then like I lost my peeps. But I did go around and I got footage of the closed casinos. This is the clip I was introducing before, but here it is. The El Cortez Hotel and Casino opened in 1941, closed for the pandemic in 2020. Think about, what is that, like 89 years? Four Queens Hotel and Casino opened in 1966, and then had to close in 2020 for the pandemic. Reopened, so did El Cortez. They're all open now, so that's good. So many off slot machines, amazing. Fremont Hotel and Casino opened in 1956, had to close for the pandemic in 2020. So it was like 80 something years? 60 something years? The Golden Nugget Hotel and Casino opened in 1943 but had to close down because of the pandemic in 2020. Binion's Gambling Hall opened in 1951. So it's open for like 70 years without ever having to shut down. All these hotels never had to shut down. Golden Gate, of course, how can we not? Golden Gate, 1906. Opened in 1906 and shut down for the first time
I want
in
to make it
2020.
clear, I've been coming to Vegas for about 11 years now. This is unprecedented. Completely unprecedented. So I am heading back to the plaza. All of downtown Las Vegas is shut down, as well as all the properties on the strip. It's surreal. It's very surreal.
One of the busiest cities on earth reduced to a ghost town in a matter of hours. It was something. Surreal still doesn't seem like quite the word to describe it, but that's the word that I tend to think of first. It was surreal. Now, of course, we're in 2024 now, and all of those casinos have reopened. In fact, they reopened a majority of them that year, later on in 2020. But it's just something to wrap one's head around, you know, just seeing how the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas just matter of hours. Downtown, the strip, everywhere. And I'm sure it was like that in every city as well. There were shutdowns in every city. But for some reason, it happening in Las Vegas just hit really close to home, even though it wasn't my home yet. The way I closed out that vlog was to pretty much summarize Vegas and wish it well. And this is the last clip that I will be sharing from that vlog. When I started my Vegas trip, I wasn't sure what would change in the 3 days that I'd be there. And as it turns out, everything changed. Las Vegas may have been brought to its knees by the likes of which we have never seen, but Las Vegas doesn't stand alone. It, like many cities around the world, are going through a very rough time right now. But will bounce back from a battle of unprecedented proportions eventually. And when it does, let's be ready. Because Las Vegas isn't only about the glamour and the glitz. Las Vegas isn't only about the opulence of high-end suites. Las Vegas is more than its busy streets and claims to largest everything in the world. The Las Vegas experience is the culmination of our trip planning, the food we eat, the drinks we drink, the experiences we share, the gambling we wager, and of course, the friends we make along the way. Las Vegas will be back, just like every other city, in time. Usually, when I'm leaving Las Vegas, I make it a point to not say goodbye. I simply say, see you soon. But this time, it's different. I'm not saying see you soon. I'm saying get well soon. So get well soon, Las Vegas. May your workers work again. May your casinos roar again. And may your lights shine yet again. Vegas came back strong before. This time, may it come back Vegas stronger. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for going down memory lane with me. And let's be thankful that we are in better days. Luxury travel booking, TravelZork Travel. Be sure to visit TravelZork.travel to plan your next amazing vacation, not just to Las Vegas, but all over the world. And you can find us easily on social media. All social media are at TravelZork. So join the conversation. We'll see you next time.